By the time the ancient seal broke, the Empire had already decided that humanity was a failed experiment. No one said it aloud in the Hall of Ascendancy. Of course, empires rarely admitted doubt and never admitted mistakes, but as the crystalline glyphs along the ceiling pulsed in slow imperial rhythm, every high strategist present shared the same unspoken belief: whatever the seal protected could not possibly matter anymore. The galaxy had moved on. The ancient seal had existed longer than recorded history, a vast construct of black stone main gravitational anchors, floating in interstellar void between dead stars. It was older than the Empire, itself older even than the First Concord. Every major power knew of it, none claimed ownership, all agreed on one thing: to not touch it. The warnings were everywhere, dead languages carved into neutronium plates, quantum-encoded threat markers. Entire extinct civilizations referenced it in their final transmissions. Here lies the end of cycles. Here sleeps the last answer. Here waits the thing humanity buried. That last line was the one the Empire dismissed most easily. Humanity was gone. Not extinct, not exactly that: broken, scattered, reduced to protectorates, trade enclaves, and forgotten colonies. Their golden age had burned fast and violently, leaving only relics and myths. The Empire had crushed the last unified human fleet 3 centuries earlier. Since then, humans have become minor participants in galactic affairs, clever, stubborn, adaptable, but irrelevant, which made the seal inconvenient. The Empire was expanding its hyperlane network, and the seal occupied a strategically perfect location. Removing it would shorten transit times across 3 sectors and give the Empire overwhelming economic advantage. Risk was calculated, threat was assessed, legends were ignored. The decision to break the seal passed unanimously. When the first containment beam struck the surface, nothing happened. Imperial scientists relaxed. The high strategist allowed himself a thin smile. Begin full extraction, he ordered. The second beam caused a vibration barely measurable, but enough to trigger a few long-dormant sensors embedded in the seal itself. Far away, across light years of silence, something noticed. The seal did not explode, it did not retaliate, it opened. Not physically in it at first. Reality around it folded inward, like space drawing a breath it had been holding for millions of years. Ancient gravitational locks disengaged one by one. Deep within the structure, mechanisms older than stars began executing commands, written in a language no longer spoken. And then the signal went out. It did not use hyperspace, it did not use subspace, it did not use any norm faster than light medium. It used time. Across the galaxy, hidden in places no Empire scout had ever bothered to scan, dormant constructs awakened, black boxes embedded in asteroid cores, artificial moons orbiting dead worlds, derelict ships mistaken for debris fields. All of them received the same message. The Empire noticed the first anomaly 12 hours later. An entire reconnaissance fleet vanished near the seal's coordinates. No distress call, no debris, just absence, like the ships had never existed. Imperial analysts blamed sensor error. Then a trade hub 3 systems away lost power. It started catastrophically, not explosively, just enough to plunge the system into darkness. When Empire forces arrived, they found the hub intact, silent, and empty. Every living thing was gone. No bodies, no damage. Just silence. Panic spread slowly at first. Empires were good at denying fear, but denial became impossible when long-range sensors detected something moving it through hyperspace, not across normal space, but through causality itself. The first human world to respond was Earth. Not the Earth the galaxy remembered. The planet had been classified as ecologically compromised centuries ago. Its population evacuated or reduced to subsistence levels. Imperial records describe it as politically fragmented and strategically irrelevant. Those records were wrong. Beneath Earth's crest, far below mantle and magma, layers of ancient infrastructure hummed to life, vaults opened that had never been listed in any star map, facilities sealed before the Empire's founding reconnected to each other through non-local networks. On the surface, nothing changed. In orbit, everything did. Defense platforms to cloak it net appearing, but unfolding from higher dimensional states. They were not sleek or beautiful. They were brutal, functional, and terrifyingly old. Humanity's final weapon was not a ship. It was not a fleet. It was a doctrine made real. Long ago, when humanity first reached the stars, they had learned a brutal truth. Civilizations rose, expanded, and inevitably turned predatory. The galaxy rewarded conquest. Peace was temporary. Treaties were suggestions. Humanity had tried diplomacy, alliances, balance. They failed. So humanity built something different. A system designed not to win wars but to end cycles. The final weapon was called the Silence Protocol. It did not target fleets, it did not target planets. It targeted continuity. When activated, it identified civilizations that crossed predefined thresholds of expansion, aggression, and technological saturation. Then it removed their ability to project power by erasing the infrastructure, logistics, and population density required to sustain an empire. Stars dimmed, hyperlinks collapsed, entire species found themselves suddenly isolated, their technology failing in ways that made no physical sense. The Empire was the first full test case in 3 million years. Imperial Command issued emergency recalls, fleets scrambled, weapons were charged. None of them mattered. Human constructs did not engage directly, they did not exchange fire, they simply appeared where Empire assets would be, moments before arrival, as if anticipating decisions before they were made. Entire armadas emerged from hyperspace into regions of null physics, where reactors could not ignite and shields refused to form. Commanders screamed about sabotage. It was not sabotage. It was design. Finally, in desperation, the Empire traced the source of the phenomenon back to the SEAL, a final strike force with assembled every remaining capital ship, every elite legion. They arrived to find the SEAL gone. In its place floated a single structure, a human artifact shaped like a sphere fractured by impossible angles, wrapped in layers of temporal distortion. And before they could fire, a transmission cut through every channel. The voice was human, old, tired. "This is not retaliation," it said. "This is maintenance." The Empire demanded surrender terms, threatened annihilation, promised reform. The voice paused, as if considering. "You broke the seal," it replied, "which means you were warned, which means you chose anyway." The Silence Protocol completed its execution. 72 hours later, the Empire did not fall in fire or blood, it simply stopped being an empire. Worlds became isolated systems, fleets became drifting hulks, species once united under imperial rule found themselves alone, forced to relearn survival without conquest. Only then did the human constructs withdraw. Earth's defenses folded back into non-existence, the vaults resealed, humanity returned to quiet obscurity at rulers, not conquerors, but guardians of an ending no one else was trusted to hold. Across the galaxy, new civilizations studied the ruins of the Empire, and finally understood the old warnings. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was finished fighting, and the ancient seal had never been a prison. It had been a warning label,